Stack 5, coming to you with the message from All the Smoke's partner, DraftKings. Even though basketball season is over, DraftKings is bringing the heat this summer during baseball season. DraftKings Sportsbook is offering all new customers $150 in bonus bets instantly if they place a $5 wager. Yep, you heard it right. New customers bet just $5 on any wager, and new customers will receive $150 in bonus bets instantly. Look to take a swing at an even bigger payout. DraftKings has got you covered with the same game parlays. Build your own same game parlay where you can combine multiple bets from the same game into one big bet. If mobile sports betting isn't available yet in your state, don't worry. You can still get in on the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code SMOKE. Bet $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code SMOKE only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Welcome into Showtime Basketball Live. We are at Blue Wire Studios at the Wynn Hotel, and I am here with Tracy McGrady, Paul Pierce, two Hall of Famers, and me, Rachel Nichols. But you know.
Hall of Famer.
There we go. One day, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Gentlemen, how's your summer? I can tell by the sunglasses that it might be a little early here in Vegas for Tracy McGrady, but.
Yes, it is. You know, I don't normally wear sunglasses during an interview, but
I did notice that. I was like,
yeah.
I'm tired. All right, boss.
We'll see if we can get them to come off through the show.
They won't.
Paul, we're used to with the shades.
yeah, I always wear glasses.
Yeah, you know. What have you been up to this summer?
AU basketball, man. And that's why I'm so tired, just traveling around with AU basketball. I have 3 teams, and we've just been on the go.
That's what happens when you have 4 children, you know. You get into all that stuff. Paul's tired in Las Vegas for a different reason usually, but, you know.
I've been getting my rest. So I knew I had to come here this morning.
All right. Yeah, you're pretty good. There's no girlfriends for the day here. We're good. We're in a good
somewhere
place.
around. Probably still sleeping, huh, P?
We're in a good place. You are here, Mr. McGrady, in part because of the Ones Basketball League, the documentary on this amazing project we've been talking about with you really for a year now is coming up. It's getting released on Showtime, July 28th. And for those who don't know, tell us about the league and why you're excited about it.
Yeah, so OBL is a one-on-one basketball league that I started. Just really receiving my information from the kids because I'm around them every day. These kids always talking about one-on-one, always asking me questions about, you know, who's the best one-on-one player in my era, asking about Paul, Vince, Kobe, all those guys. And they love play the game of one-on-one after our practices. So just listening to the kids, and also I know that there's only 450 players that enter the NBA.
Right.
There's a whole sea of guys out there that can play at a high level that I felt that needed a platform. I wanted to give these guys a platform to be able to showcase their abilities in a one-on-one setting. And I thought we did a great job of doing just that last year of starting that. We went to like 6 cities, took, 3 of the top guys from that city, but we started out with 32. And we took those top 3 guys, brought them to Vegas, competed in the championship where we gave a guy $250,000 for the winner. My guy P was in the building and witnessed that.
Yeah.
It was an amazing season last year, and we just, capture all of that content. And, Showtime did a great job of putting a 4-part series for us that I can't wait to see.
It's going to be so good. I've seen clips from it. In fact, we have a clip right now I want to show, and then I'll talk a little bit more. But we got to talk about Paul's involvement as well on a certain baseline with some push-ups. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's show a clip so everyone can see what we're talking about. It's so good.
Welcome to the OBL. You better bring your A game.
You got to be wired differently to play one-on-one basketball. There's no help. It's just you versus the guy in front of you. You have a crowd that is waiting for something spectacular to happen. And are you ready for that? What you're gonna get is a storm.
OBL is a gauntlet. You gotta be built different to win that.
You open that door, I'm coming through.
One-on-one basketball, it brings that shit out of you, bro.
That shit mine. I'm destined for it. I'm destined for it. I hope you ready. You got it. I hope you ready.
I'm always ready forever.
I hope you ready.
Tracy McGrady started this league to find that untapped talent around America.
We go to 7 cities, bringing in 32 players each city. All 32 of those guys would play 7 games. The number 1 guy from that region will get $10,000 for winning that region. The top 3 guys get the automatic invite to Las Vegas to win $250,000.
I done been through the ringer with this basketball. Basketball has been my life, but it's also hurt me at the same time.
It's a million of us, right? It's a million dudes. It's like NBA or nothing.
When you see that pain I'm putting in, it's because I missed out on an opportunity. Or I ain't get the break I thought I should have got. That ain't stopped me and motivated me.
When I look at these players, I know how it feels to be doubted, be counted out, to be overlooked. That is my whole story. When the opportunity is given, it's like, okay, now the ball is in your court. What are you gonna do with it?
One-on-one basketball is just where I belong.
We both here, but I really think I'm gonna win.
These guys are out to prove something.
Yes,
That was
sir.
good.
That gave me some chills right there.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
that looked like that's gonna be lit.
They've done a phenomenal job with it. I think a lot of people will be, pleased with the outcome of the 4-part series.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out producer Eric Newman. Put a bunch
Shout
of that
out to
together.
E. Newman.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some serious emotion going on in there, right? I don't know who was tearing off that locker room door, but.
Well, you got to think, I don't think many of those guys have ever won a lump sum of money of $250,000.
That's $250,000, friend.
Absolutely. So, that changes your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those guys put a lot of passion and, effort into that. And, it was great to see. And what was, crazy about last season is we really didn't have the cream of the crop of players that play one-on-one basketball.
We're
just getting started. They really didn't know what it was. Now that they see that it's real,
yeah,
we should get those guys in our upcoming season in 24.
Man, I mean, you know what? That's got to be kind of heartbreaking because you see so much money on the line, and then you come out of your city, then you come all the way to Vegas, you put in all this time, and then you don't get it. So I could just see the heartbreak. That's like losing in the NCAA tournament.
Well,
I mean, Tracy came out of high school. He don't know that.
I was going to say.
I don't.
You know the pain.
I know that pain.
You know the pain.
But the pain that the guy in the championship game felt, though, because George Beeman, he's from New York.
Mm-hmm.
He actually missed the Brooklyn region that we participated in, so he flew out to L.A. He won L.A. So he made it to the championship game here in Vegas. He had game point.
Missed the free throw. I remember that. Oh.
Don't give it away. Come on.
Oh, right.
Oh, my bad.
Well, but seriously, there's things I love about this. I love that you actually get to know these guys as they go through. I love the kind of barnstorming from city to city aspect. The Big Three's taking advantage of that too. It's just like a show that people are excited when y'all come into town. And the thing, it's interesting. We heard you in the trailer. I know you're back. I know your story. There's a lot of people out there who will be like, "What are you talking about? Overlooked? He got drafted out of high school. What do you mean? But how do you relate to these guys?
Well, so my junior year in high school, I was one of the top players in Central Florida. Outside of Central Florida, no one knew who Tracy McGrady was. It wasn't until after my junior season I participated in my first camp ever, which was the ABCD camp. Mm-hmm. And it was nothing that changed about me as a basketball player. It's just a platform that was given to me, the opportunity that was given to me. And I got on there and I showed my ass, and in essence, it propelled me to be the #1 player in the country. So with this, no one knows who these guys are, right? So I'm providing this platform for these guys, so people will know about them, and they should know about them because they have a unique ability to play the game of basketball in a one-on-one setting that I think they appreciate.
It's funny. I was a counselor at that camp.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, are you serious?
Yeah, I was a counselor at that camp, Tracy.
No way.
And what I remember is because I was watching I think it was the All-Star game y'all played, and he windmilled on somebody and got fouled. And I was like, who is this kid? Who is this skinny, long kid right here? And it was like, that's Tracy McGrady. I was like, man, I ain't heard of him because it was other names. You heard it going in as a counselor. When I seen that, when he did that, everybody knew his name. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
That's crazy. I had no idea
I
you
was
were there at that.
in Kansas, and I flew out as a counselor.
Damn. All right. So y'all go back. Well, you were there for some of the OBL games. You were in Los Angeles. Then you came out here to Vegas.
Yeah.
I heard you were interesting crowd participation while you were out there. Can you tell us what happened?
This is the thing. I come from the culture of ones. That's how I got better.
Right.
We go to the park one-on-one, so I was just like, hey, when I was coming watching the games, I'm hyped. I'm like, this is what real basketball is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All this workout stuff, no, let's go ones and work on our stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I come from that culture. That's why I can appreciate them putting together something like this, because this is the culture of basketball. This is the
essence.
The essence, yeah. Like, we didn't have trainers. We didn't have workout guys. We didn't have drills.
Right.
What you doing on Saturday? We going to the park, me and you, we're going to go one.
Yeah.
That's how we got better.
Yeah.
So you want to explain Paul's inadvertent participation in the championship in Las Vegas?
Well, first of all, I just appreciate my guy showing up. Really meant a lot, seeing my guy on the sidelines and just being really interactive with everybody and having a great time. Like he said, that like we come from this, right? And I get a sense of joy of just going every single weekend and just sitting down and watching these guys participate. I love it.
Yeah.
But it was in Vegas. I think Paul was too crunk and having too much fun. And I just happened to look across the court and see Paul over there doing some push-ups.
Can you explain what is going on?
Paul was getting into the Chicago guys
I'm
over
into
there.
the Chicago. We betting some push-ups, and I said, here, I'm going to do the push-ups for you because you about to lose. Because I had a guy I picked, and they had a guy. And next thing you know,
Took
the
a
ref
out?
And I'm like, what the ref doing?
Paul was having out his guy that he wanted. He had his wager on. That's what he was doing. He was distracting the referee.
Oh man,
that was funny, yo.
All right, you guys never play one-on-one against each other in a true setting, but you obviously have games where it felt like that a lot of the time. What can you tell me about the other one and their style when you're really going at it?
Well, for me, playing against Paul, he's so deceiving. His whole game is really deceiving. He doesn't seem like he's athletic, but he will dunk on your ass. He doesn't seem like he's the quickest, but his first step, he'll get by you, right? He just plays at a pace that really throws you off. And, he has the greatest pump fake that, you will witness going right and pump faking. So he was one of the guy where I had to watch film to study his game to know at least I could take something away. I can't take everything away, but I got to take something away because he has an array of moves, and just his pace that he plays at it kind of throws you off because, you used to guarding guys like Vince Carter, who's fast, the Allen Iversons and the Kobe's, like these guys. Paul didn't play at that speed. So highly skilled, and it's just, you just had to watch him, study him to take something away.
I mean, Paul, that Game 7 you played in 08, LeBron James with the Cavs.
Amazing.
Each of you dropped more than 40.
Amazing.
That is one of the best basketball games I have ever been present for. Second round of the playoffs. That felt like y'all going one-on-one.
One-on-one.
That's what it felt like.
It really
what was it like for you out on the court in those kinds of moments? Because we don't get those in the NBA that often, but that felt like one of those.
I mean, I've had a lot of games like that with T-Mac. You just on the island and you trying to will your team to a win. This is stuff, like I said, one-on-one is where I came from.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize the magnitude of it at the time because I remember, everything happened so fast. And I was just like, I'm not going home today. I'm going to do whatever I can. And it was just like, I'll come down, knock one down. Then LeBron come down, boom, knock one down. And I was just like, I'm right at home right now. This is this is what I do.
Right.
You know, and when you get to a game 7, there's no plays or no scheme or nothing you're going to draw up that's going to be effective. Yeah. And so you got to come with it. You got to bring your A game.
And what was it like to go against him?
Man, with Tracy, I'm going to tell you, because he was like, you know, he a couple inches taller than me. And he always set up his move with the hezzy. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know if he was going to hezzy pull or just go. Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted him to shoot jumpers, which he was effective as, because if he get into the hole, he going to jump over your big man. And I didn't want to get my big man dunked on. And so I let him set up for the jumper all night. And I just got to hope he missed.
See, that's a kind teammate right
there. That's funny.
There you go. All right, who would you in the NBA most want to see go on one against each other right now? If you could pick a matchup of the 2 NBA guys you want to see.
Oh, man, I would love to see Kyrie and Devin Booker.
Ooh, that would be good.
Oh, man. Yes.
Kyrie and Devin Booker?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let me see.
He locked in right now.
I'm gonna go Jason Tatum and Paul George.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I would love that, as you know, PG was younger.
He still got the ones.
He
still got the ones. And Jason do too.
Basketball-wise, I love that. But neither one of those guys trash talking. I want a little bit of the trash talking.
Oh, well, if we going to go there.
That's what I'm talking about, D-Book and Kyrie.
Yeah.
Nah, see, D-Book and Kyrie, if we're going to go there to where it's going to get physical, it's going to kind of get heated, then I'm going to go with like somebody like Jimmy Butler and Draymond.
Oh, dude.
Let's do something like that. That's a real street ball.
They're not going to finish the game, bro. They ain't going to finish the game.
If you want to see something made on TV, that'll be something.
They're not going to finish.
All right, you brought up Devin Booker. We got to talk a little NBA basketball here. What do you think of the way the Suns are set up with Book, KD, and now Bradley Beal? Little less depth than you might want going in, but they've been trying to beef up that bench. And then DeAndre Ayton's still there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, on paper, they, to me, look like the favorites. You got 3 guys that have, I think, once have averaged over 30 in our league. Mm-hmm. Any one of those guys can give you a 40-piece on a given night. I think the thing with me is, you know, you have Frank Vogel, who's a defensive-minded coach coming in. Yep. It's all about, you know, these guys buying into his defensive schemes. I mean, they're going to score points. It's, you know, can you stop anybody? And usually, you know, when you add pieces to your team, you already have 2 prolific scorers. You know, you want to add defensive stopper or a 3-and-D guy. Well, they added another offensive guy. So it's, you know, the league is kind of changing in that sense. But on paper, to me, you know, you have to put them down as a favorite.
Okay, so you think they're the favorite to win the title?
For next season, yeah.
What do you got? You agree with that?
Rachel, I've been watching this game a long time. I've been around it a long time.
Okay, Grandpa.
I love the names. But when I look at each individual, I really don't think they complement each other too well.
Really?
Yeah, because like when you look at championship teams who have got superstars, I mean, we didn't already seen Harden, KD, and Kyrie. We didn't already seen different trios that just couldn't get it done because they didn't complement each other well. See, Bradley, great player. Booker, great player, of course, KD. But they need the ball in their hands, all 3 of them, you know.
I don't know if they do.
Man, if you've watched Bradley in the last few years.
KD need the ball?
Well, maybe KD's the one who, out of all of them, that can play without the ball.
Yeah.
And but the other 2, they need to be effective. And I don't look at them as they don't play a role. They play a role as scorers. Like, I don't see a defensive stopper out there. Mm-hmm. I don't see a great athleticism, a slasher. You know what I'm saying? So for them to be effective, they need the ball in situations. Book, I think he's at best when the ball is in his hands, better than KD and Bradley because he's great, better passer, and he can score.
So think about this. So D-Book and KD in a pick and roll. KD can't catch and shoot?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, end of the game, right? But, like, I don't – like, who's going to be the slasher? Who's going to be a different type of scorer?
Whoever that 4th guy is. Aiden is going to be –
Aiden's not even going to get the ball, first of all.
No, I'm saying Aiden has got to transition into defense, rebounds.
Yeah.
You know, like he's going to have to turn it.
Yeah,
he's going to have to turn into that guy. And if he masters that role, and whoever that other guy is going to be, he's going to be.
I don't think he's ready for that. He's too young right now.
Who, Aiden?
Yeah, he's too young for that.
He just played in the finals, P.
He's trying to prove who he is right now. Why is he getting the attitude? Why is he into it with the coach? Why is he not cool with Chris Paul, not dapping him up on the sideline? He want to prove who he is and make a name for himself. You can see that.
This is where Frank Vogel's such a good fit, though, because he has such a good history with big men, right? Going all the way back to Indiana. So I feel like them keeping Ayton so far is partly because they hired this coach.
Yeah.
You know? So we'll see. I
like it on paper.
But chemistry-wise, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why Denver was so great. Out of all the teams, you saw the Lakers. They added these pieces. Yeah, right. Okay. And you see all these other teams adding these pieces, Kyrie and Luka, thinking they can just throw something together and it's going to work.
Yeah, well, that's why I said, like, those three guys are going to have to buy into Frank's system, his defensive system. Like, you know, we know all three of you guys can score, but you're going to have to show everyone else that, you know, one or two of y'all can be lockdown defenders as well. And that's just what it's got to be.
I don't expect there to be any, like, attitude, locker room issues or anything. All three of those guys are like, we want to win.
Yeah.
If they all have their different reasons, they're coming at it from different places, but they all have that sort of, like, I don't need to be the guy necessarily if we can win, that sort of thing. So I'm good there. I mean, Denver's lost depth this offseason.
Yeah.
You know, as great as they looked, I think that's going to be a factor as they try to
losing
defend.
Bruce Brown was a big loss.
Right, Jeff Green.
But
like,
you can
Jeff Green
replace
was a big
them.
loss.
They replaceable.
Yeah.
As long as you got your core intact, I think that's what matters. You can find Bruce Brown again, somebody who can just give you some energy.
Hopefully Brown, the young kid from Kansas,
yeah,
can step up and
Brown, he can fill that role because he looked good in the finals.
Yeah.
It's Brown, right? Brown. It's Brown, right? Brown. I'm going with Brown.
I'm going
Brown.
Yeah.
Christian Brown.
Christian Brown.
I'm gonna go Brown.
I was going to say,
Brown.
I mean, here's the thing. You're asking me this, and I'm like, well, I think it's Brown, but I don't want to argue with the Kansas guy.
No, it's
Brown.
It's B-R-A-U-N.
But it's Brown. It's pronounced Brown.
It's Brown.
Oh, my Lord. We got to shake up in the West potentially, too, because you possibly got Dame going out, and you possibly got James Harden going in. Dame has said he wants to play for Miami. James Harden, through, you know, reports and everything, has expressed about wanting to go to the Clippers. What do you think about either of those potential moves?
Well, for Portland's sake, you know, you want to do right by Dame, but also, you know, Dame's is still such a phenomenal player. Like, you want to get great assets back that can help your franchise win right now, and to where you don't fall off, you know, the cliff. So you want to get great assets back for Dame. James Harden, for the life of me, don't understand. You've been playing with the MVP of the league. Like, y'all are a championship contending team. That's what we play for.
Right.
Like, I don't know what type of situation you want to be in. You know what I mean? Going to the Clippers, they're not going to trade you for, you know, just a couple of draft picks and some guys that don't get no playing time. Like, they want pieces because, bro, you're 20-10. Dude, you still have value.
Yeah.
And with you being traded to the Clippers, you're going to take away from that, and you're just going to be right back in a situation where you're not going to be able to compete for a championship. So you're in the best situation, I think, right now being in Philly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just don't really see a good fit for James outside of on a contending team.
I mean, the Clippers still need a guard who can orchestrate. That has been one of the Achilles' heels.
I mean,
right, but who are you going to give up? It's got to be a trade.
I still don't see a good fit on a contending team. Like, I don't like James Harden and Westbrook with Kawhi and Paul George at this stage, because now y'all older. You know, the Clippers, if anything, they need more youth. You know what I'm saying? Those older teams don't tend to really do well when it gets deep in the playoffs, because when they're going against teams like Denver, who's fast, athletic, you know, I think his best fit is in Houston. And so,
well, they got Fred VanVleet now. They don't.
Yeah, that's not going.
Yeah, but now that's over with.
His best fit is Team X-Ray.
I mean, not in Houston. I meant Philadelphia, not Houston. His best fit is in Philadelphia with a guy who could take the pressure off your scoring, and Embiid and Maxey, and at times Tobias Harris to where you could be a facilitator, and then when need be, you can step up in the scoring department.
Well, it's interesting what you're saying about Dame, right, and where he could go, and that team's going to have to give stuff up as well. And, he said he wants to go to Miami. Miami does not have the assets to trade for him, so they would have to have a third team involved, someone to take Tyler Hero, give Portland more draft picks. But it's interesting when you look at it because the agent has reportedly gone around and told people, oh, he only wants to play for Miami. Dame's got a 4-year contract. This is not a situation where a guy is like about to, could leave the next year or something. And Damian Lillard is a baller. He's not going to sit and pout, right? We've seen guys who have pouted. He's not going to do that. No. He's too good a player that if he is traded somewhere else, and by the way, he's not going to get traded to the middle of nowhere. I mean, he's going to get traded to someone who needs wants to be a contender, who needs Damian Lillard. I mean, I get it that they're trying to angle to Miami and they're saying all the right things to try to do that. But if Damian Lillard is traded to Philadelphia or something, it's not like he's not going to play. Like, he's Damian Lillard. He's going to give it his all.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, Dame's going to be a true professional. That's just who he's been his whole career.
Yeah.
But I don't see that Portland is going to be in a rush to make this happen. So Dame could possibly start off the season in a Portland uniform because, they got to find the right fit for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And then also, Dame has to find a place if he wants to win, where he's not the best player.
And then hell, if he starts the season, some of them young guys might surprise him. I mean,
I think it's going to be strange. I agree with you, but it's going to be strange if he starts the season there because it's such an emotional relationship between him and the fans there. And I will say, I get a lot of credit to the fans in Portland. Very classy. All I heard after Dame sort of finally pushed the button and said, "Okay, I want to trade." So many Blazers fans being like, "We wish him the best. He deserves it." There was no I didn't see any big backlash in Portland at all.
You're talking about a guy. He's giving that city all he can give them.
Yeah.
Right. And at some point, you got to be like, we're not a championship contending team. He's given us everything. I would love for Dame to win a championship. Let's find a great position for him and see if he can win one.
Well, P, you're right. I mean, he's tried to go it alone. Obviously, he can't do that. So he needs to be on with other elite players. By the way, no one can do that. It's not like he can't do it. No one can do it. Like, where would you, if you could pick a place for him, I don't know if you think Miami's the best fit,
if
or
I
where
can
would you
pick
put
a
him?
place for Dame, I'll find a way to get to Milwaukee.
I mean, it's going to have some
you team him
salary
up with
cap
the
issues
Greek,
with that,
Greek
but
freak, and you can kind of trade like Drew Holiday. I like Drew.
Trade Drew? Oh.
And replace him with Dame?
You tripping. You tripping, Pete.
So you wouldn't do that for Dame?
you need a defense.
So you taking Drew?
You need the defense.
You need Drew, bro. I'm not saying
asking,
Drew.
Are you taking Drew over Dame?
You talking about? No, I'm saying Dame is a better player. What you just said about Phoenix, chemistry, right?
But they need that. Antetokounmpo need that other consistent scorer.
He has it. Yeah,
now, Middleton's been injured and he's slowing down. If you put Middleton, Dame, and Antetokounmpo together, you think that ain't gonna win it?
Man,
with Dame,
but the way Drew locks up.
That's cool, man. I love that too. I like the way Marcus Smart locked up. I mean, what you mean? The way Dame is clutch, the way Dame is a top 75 Hall of Fame player. What you mean?
I like the fit with Drew.
Drew is a good fit. They won a championship.
All right, well, first of all, I would love you to go in there to the Bucks front office and make all those numbers work. But we can talk about that later.
I'm sure some young pieces they can maneuver.
What about you? If you could pick anywhere for Damian Lillard,
it'd be Miami.
You do think that that's the right spot for him?
Him, Jimmy, Bam,
the
and
culture,
Dame,
Spoelstra.
Yes,
yeah.
Because I know they're gonna have the right pieces around him.
Yeah.
They're gonna have that. But those three together,
you put them together, they won't make it out the first round.
Wait.
You got to understand how they got to the championship this year. A lot of this had to do with their depth. And guys playing way above their pay grade. Way up. Caleb, Anthony, these guys was averaging 20 points on Boston. We ain't never seen them do that. Then you had Duncan Robinson. So if you get Dame, they gone. They already gone, but then you lose another 18-point, 20 score, gone. You're going to have to throw in Robinson, You're gonna have to gut that team out.
You don't think they're going to get out of the first round?
They lost Vincent, Truce. Struce.
You please jump in here because I can't believe what I'm hearing.
All right, what does Struce do?
He shoot.
He was killing. Vincent, 20. Caleb, 20 a night versus the Celtics. Duncan Robinson. These is 4 key pieces.
Duncan Robinson wasn't doing
He was killing.
Man,
I was at the Celtics series. I couldn't believe these guys.
In the first couple series, Duncan Robinson didn't even play.
Man, Miami.
He didn't play.
Listen, Miami was a play-in team. You forgot that.
No, I didn't forget that.
It was a play. If you add,
and they made it to the chip.
If you just add
Dame,
this team won't make it out the first round with them 3 with no depth.
They're gonna have depth.
How?
Bro, one thing Miami is always gonna have is some depth. Guys that you ain't heard about none of the guys that they had.
Did you know Gabe
Vincent?
Vincent? I mean, a bunch
Vincent gone, Struce is gone. If you
Did you hear about them?
Caleb gone.
Did you
yeah,
hear
but you would
about
not
them
have
before?
said right. You would not have said going into the playoffs. Those guys.
You can't just keep
those guys.
You ain't gonna just keep finding D-League cats.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
All-stars.
Masters of the salary cap. No one does it like that team.
Oh, they always do this, bro.
No, San Antonio always do that, but this was luck.
Can you tell him how many times Miami has been in the finals over what?
Well, first of all, they've been to in the past 15 years, they've only missed the playoffs 3 times.
Come on, Bear.
Right? They've been in the Eastern Conference Finals
over
and
missed
over
it this
again.
year.
Well, but they didn't, and look what happened. They were in the NBA Finals.
Haven't they been in the NBA Finals?
And no one
2 of the last 4 years?
And no one is better at playing with sort of the different assets and putting guys in position to win than Eric Spoelstra right now. To me, I think that he is the best at adjusting.
Your leadership on the sideline. If you add that team and gut that team by getting Dame, they borderline might not make it to the playoffs or out the first round.
That's crazy.
This is going to send you off the set.
That's crazy.
T-Mac has to go, and I think this is why.
I hope this deal happens. So when we come back to this tape, you're going to be like, damn, P was right.
We in Vegas. You want to put something on that?
I was going to say.
First of all, he ain't going to make it over there. So.
All right, before you go, what's your prediction? If they get to if Dame does get to Miami, he says they won't make it out of the first round, which makes me question whether he's been drinking this morning.
They making it
out. Good cup of coffee with 3 sugars.
They making it out of the first round if Dame goes there.
Do you see them as like coming out of the East, or do you feel like Milwaukee?
Hell no, coming out of
Boston?
the East.
Anything can happen. You know, you got Dame.
They came out of the East this year.
Man,
so we didn't expect them to even make the playoffs. They made it to the finals this year. I'm never doubting Miami. I'm never doing that. Just like I'm never doubting LeBron.
They gonna make
I'm
the
never
playoffs.
doubting Miami.
They're gonna make the playoffs, but this is not gonna be it. It's only one Cinderella.
Well, we got a lot of steps to get there. Damian Lillard still in Portland. We'll see what happens.
That's not the move, man. That's not the move.
I don't know how to send you out any better than this because I know you gotta get going.
I gotta wake T-Mac up.
I was gonna say now the sunglasses can come off.
He woke now. Look, he woke now.
Hey man.
That's it.
I ain't going. You want me to name 7 teams that'll be better than them?
In the East?
Yeah.
I got time.
Philly, gonna be better than them. Barring James Harden stay.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee, gonna be better than them. You already know the Celtics. I'm not sure if they'll be better than Brooklyn next year.
Come on.
Hey.
I'm not sure they'll be better than Brooklyn.
Hey.
I like what Brooklyn.
We're talking about is if Dame is on there. We saying if Dame is on there on Miami.
Yeah, we saying if Dame is on there.
Hey man, hey,
Indiana's
show basketball family.
Indiana.
It's been real. I'm at the Blue Wire Studios in Las Vegas. I got a lot of media I got to do today. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, I can't be listening to this nonsense.
A horrible start this morning.
I mean, it's a good start. It's just, wake you up.
Man.
The Knicks.
Shit.
I'm just naming
that's it.
Good to see you.
That's it.
I appreciate
All right,
y'all.
well, everybody, check out the OBL documentary on Showtime later this month.
We're airing July 28th.
This is the family,
10
man,
PM. Paul,
nowhere else I want to be.
Appreciate
all
you.
the teams I said gonna be in the playoffs. So,
man,
this is. I'm sorry. If Dame Lillard goes to the Heat, the Nets are going to be better take. Is something that is going to. Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break.
Celtics, Philly. Indiana.
You want to stick around because Lord knows what this man is going to say next.
Come on now.
We'll see y'all in a minute.
Oh man,
Stay
y'all
with us.
tripping. Y'all tripping.
Let's get it.
We talk about the GOAT, man. He might be the GOAT. He set a new bar.
Setting the bar? He's killing the bar.
He set a new bar, I'm saying.
Both of them are on the list, the top 10.
What? Come on. Is he the best player in the league?
I can't say that.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
You got
Texas over everything bone mouth.
You ain't won every bet.
I have, though.
Nope. Come on. Oh, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. That's easy money. They feeling too good about themselves. They outside. I don't care what time
He said he finna get Southeast.
I think to my parlay. The PP parlay.
Listen to the Commissioner Pierce here. He has the insights on the flow of what we're creating here.
Truth is truth.
They doing the cha-cha, goddammit.
They team doing the cha-cha slide.
Cha-cha.
Right.
Cha-cha.
We back. You hear him? We back.
We're back?
Yeah.
I got nothing. All right, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, that's why. This is live television, people. This is the kind of stuff that happens. That's good. You can host the show now.
We live. We back, baby.
Woo! There you go.
Live from Vegas. Summer League is going down.
All right, you mentioned the changes the Celtics made in our last segment with T-Mac, so I got to ask you about it. What do you think of the moves? I mean, Marcus Smart obviously being the biggest one.
Yeah, I mean, I like the moves. You know, I like, you're disappointed because Marcus was a long stay there, a leader, and brought a lot of things to the culture.
Right.
But, I really believe that the biggest change was needed was in the coaching staff. You know, and I'm bringing along Sam Cassell and a few other pieces is really going to help this team, because I think when they lost Damon Stoudemire,
it was such a low key big deal that people did not pay enough attention to.
Right. And so when you have a guy with NBA experience who goes through the same things they go through and can relate to the players, and he's an extension of the coach, that's a big deal. You know, and people don't understand that, because people get tired of hearing the same voice every day. And sometimes you tune them out some days, and sometimes you veer away and you come back. But when you got that extension, that means a lot. That can help you through a long season, you know, where you can be like, man, let's go have dinner, let's talk about it, you know. So I think that was a big move. And adding Porzingis, it gives him some size, some defense on the inside, shot blocking and shooting. He really fits in the way they play.
I think he's going to thrive there. I think that that team is set up for him to finally do some of the stuff we've hoped he could do.
But I think in order for that to work, there's going to have to be sacrifices made. You know, maybe Jason Tatum don't have to average 30. You know, maybe we don't need more. Jaylen Brown to average 26, 27. So I think if they realize that they got a number of guys who can play, Derek White, and share the wealth and become a little more unselfish. That's the one thing I would say about this team. If they became a little more unselfish, you know, less one-on-one taking shots and just move the ball around, they're going to be dangerous. And I know they had a great offense. They was the #1 team offensively, but there's some things you could tweak to even get better, which is the scary part.
Well, I mean, look, with Grant gone, with Marcus gone, defensively, do you feel like they're going to be where they need to be?
Well, yeah, I think Porzingis adds defense, and I think you know, the way Derek White came along, you got to understand, Marcus Smart didn't even make all defense last year, so he took a step back defensively from going from defensive player of the year. Yeah. And you know, Derek White, he's taking a step up.
Yeah, second team all defense, right?
Absolutely. So,
although with Marcus, I would say some of that just ebbs and flows. I don't think he was so much of a worse defender this year, although he obviously didn't do everything he did the year before. Some of it's like the position you're in.
You can't go from a defensive player of the year to not even make all defense. That's like an MVP. The next year, don't even make all NBA.
Yeah.
You know, so I think
by the way, that's going to happen this year because they got that rule with the 65 games.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Joel's playing all 65 of those games. I mean, we hope his health is good, but
you know. I wish a lot of things would change with the NBA because this is what I don't like, and this ain't been talked about enough. And I've been saying this for years. We need to, since we're in the era of positionless basketball.
Yep.
We can't have a guy end up second in the MVP voting and second team All-NBA.
I put all three of them on my first team All-NBA.
And I tell this to people all the time.
Those were the three best players. They need to be on the first team. I put them all on my first team.
They need to take that out. We can't have 4-4. We got to have the 5 best players that year, then the next 5, because I would have made more All-NBA teams if we didn't have positions to put on the All-NBA team. Of course. And I'm like, we need to go away from that. I can't be second in the voting and I make second team All-NBA.
100%. Well, I'm not sure about Jokic, but the other two I think were listed as both center and forward. And I was like, great. The NBA is listing them this way. Because as you say, positionless, they're playing. I mean, they're all doing everything anyway.
Take that out of there. Ain't no position.
Front court, back court. Like, that's the real distinction now.
I mean, if we really want to get technical, then maybe Joker is the point guard.
I mean, right?
I mean, he averages 10 assists.
We were talking last night at dinner about, you know, the old school with Magic. Where would you put Joker versus Magic in terms of passing?
Oh, no, Magic is the ultimate passer.
So there's no he's number 2 behind him, though?
No, he's not even number 2.
So who's number 2?
As far as passer?
Yeah.
Joker is not even a top 5 passer to me. Just because he's a big man, he's the best big man. But when we just talk about pure passer, well, you got to talk about guys like Magic, White Chocolate, Jason Williams.
That's true.
Rondo, Pete Maravich, Larry Bird. When we talk about flash and style with it, we talking about guys that throw it behind the neck.
I just love
no look. I mean, Joker's great. But when we talk about just pure special passers, J Kidd.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
I love watching Joker do his thing in these playoffs.
Yeah, because we ain't seen it from a 7-footer do all of
that. Right. I mean, it's so fun. And the way he does it, he's got flair. He's not looking half the time.
Yeah, but we ain't seeing him come down.
No, I know. You're right. You're right.
Like
I know.
Magic or behind the back like J-Dub or the fake behind the back like Rondo. Like, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. That's special. That's special. I can't wait.
You got a rookie coming this year who likes to play like a point guard, so we'll see what happens with Victor, but
all right,
he's not there yet.
Let's see.
He's not there yet. What do you think of Victor in Summer League so far? He had a nervous. I was at both of those games. He had a nervous first game, although I thought actually considering all the eyes on him, he did fine. He had 5 blocks, and then that second game, you could see him really settle in.
Yeah, he did. He gave me exactly what I wanted to see. All right, everybody got on him for that first game, but I was like, all right, that's just like anything you come in new. There's an adjustment period. He came in the first game. All right, this is how the game is. Okay, now I'm going to be ready the next game. And he was like, he adjusted so fast in the second game, whereas some guys don't make the adjustment till the season starts.
Right.
He saw what the physicality like. He saw what the speed of the game was like. He felt it and was like, all right, this is what I need to do next game. He responded the second game, played well, and that's all I needed to see.
I mean, people don't remember, too, his French team was in the playoffs until just before the draft, basically.
Yeah.
So he's at the end of his season when he's talking about conditioning and all that stuff. Then he went through 2 or 3 weeks after getting drafted where, frankly, didn't do anything because he was, being kind of toured around and all that stuff. This was all expected to me. I expected him to be a little winded. I expected him, to sort of need to settle in. After the first game, I asked him, what did you notice the most that you need to fix before the season? And he said his conditioning. He said, look, I was tired every time I got to the bench, running up and down at that pace and everything. And it's just, after not working for the past few weeks, I mean, you know how it is, how quickly you spend a month off the court, it goes quick.
Oh, absolutely.
So he said that's the thing he needs to work on. And then after the second game, I was asking him a little bit about the differences between where he came from and playing in the NBA now that he's had, it's obviously not hardcore NBA basketball, but he's had a couple games now of what the league is like. He said that Summer League, at least, is less physical than what he was getting in Europe. What do you think of that?
But you can't make a comparison from Summer League to the actual big boys.
Yeah. No, I know.
Summer League
I thought that when I asked that question, that was not the answer I expected necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and maybe it's not, but we'll have to see when he's out there playing against bigger and faster and stronger guys. Summer League is just a sample size.
Yeah.
It's just a little small here. This is what you're kind of going to see.
Yeah.
But when you rise to the big boy level where guys are bigger, even stronger, even faster.
Yeah.
You ain't seeing no Greek freaks in Summer League. You ain't seeing no Joel Embiid's in Summer League.
I mean, you did, but that was before they became who they are now.
You're going to see where the physicality going to be when you get up there with them.
Yeah. I mean, like he was saying, he's got more room to move around right now, and that's going to change a little bit too, obviously. Although it's a different league, it's what we were just talking about before. I mean, it's not like it was back when you played. He is going to have some more room.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a free-flowing game, wide open. Everybody can shoot. He don't need to put on that much muscle. Well, this ain't one of them games to where it's one of them brute leagues to where you got guys like Charles Oakley and Dennis Rodman and guys who in the weight room all the time. This is a guy where you could be like Kevin Durant build or like a Wembanyama build and really thrive in this league because all the holding and grabbing is not there.
I mean, he's got to do more of those legs. You worry about.
Man, he's 7'6". You see, he barely jumping, he dunking.
I know, but I just don't want him to have an injury.
Injuries happen because you have to be lucky not to get injured.
No, I know.
It
That's
don't
true.
even matter. We've seen Derrick Rose was one of the best athletes we've ever seen in this league, but he unlucky at times.
Right.
So I don't think it has nothing to do with your build. We've never seen Allen Iverson miss significant time.
Yeah.
Due to surgery, but he got knocked around all the time. So I think you have to be not only good but lucky in that department.
Well, look, he got lucky in terms of where the ping pong balls fell because getting to San Antonio under Greg Popovich, the fact that guys like Tim Duncan are still hanging around the franchise, apparently Duncan and Tony Parker and a couple other guys already took Victor to dinner.
Yeah.
And Victor said he learned more during the 2 hours of dinner than he had for years about the NBA ever. To have the guys in his ear is going to be huge.
Sometimes I feel like the NBA lottery is rigged.
Really?
Because like when you look at the business of basketball sometimes, and you look at the people that's been behind them and how much we hyped them during the year.
Yeah, but I have been at the lottery. There's no way it is rigged. There are so many steps.
Listen to this, though. There couldn't have been a better place for you to nurture and culture-wise for this guy who we're moving into a new era, kind of.
Sometimes
to
that's
be
just
at,
fate, though. And that the fact that, frankly, they sucked, and that's why they were in the position that they were in.
Could you imagine if he went to Houston? Could you imagine if he went to Charlotte? Could you imagine if he went to Detroit? Like, the NBA is nurturing this. This is about this guy. They're going to make him the
draft
face
lottery
of
is
the
not
league.
rigged. I am here to tell you.
Why we can't see it on TV no more?
Well, they have. I
I
mean,
want to see the ping pong. I want to see, you know how like the real lottery is, the California lottery, they got the balls doing it. I want to see all that, and you pull it out and be like, boom.
It's like 8 steps to get to where. I mean, they really make it clear it's not rigged.
Watching this stuff?
There's like 30 people in the room, including media observers.
I need to be in that room. I need to see.
All right, we got to call up the NBA. You can be in the room next year, and then you will come back out afterward, and you will tell me it is not rigged, because it is not rigged. But it is the perfect spot for him.
Just like the roulette is rigged and the dice is rigged.
Well, that's a different story.
This stuff is rigged.
Not here at the Wynn
There's a
Hotel,
magnet in
but
there. There's some magnets in there.
how so is Wynn. That's why they have Las Vegas. Come on. Pop signed a 5-year deal while we were here at Summer League. Look, it was interesting when that happened because you knew obviously he was going to stick around once this draft happened. But talking to Victor about it, he was just saying, like, that gives him so much confidence. He's like, that tells me that he kept saying, they have faith in this project, which I thought was great phrasing. Obviously, when someone's speaking in God, I can't even imagine how many languages these guys have compared to us, and it's so embarrassing. They're so much more fluent than us. But, I don't know if that was just a translation from what he's thinking in French, but I thought it was great phrasing because he's thinking of himself and these next 3 years as a project. That is a great attitude for a number 1 pick who's been hyped as much as him. He could easily walk into this league and think, I'm the shit, I can do whatever I want. Yeah. That is not how he's talking about it. And he was saying that Pop signing on like that made him feel good about that he's going to be there for him.
Yeah, I feel like that's how Pop usually brings along his projects that he's had in the past.
Yeah.
Outside of Tim Duncan, who came in completely ready.
Yeah.
The way he brought around Kawhi and Ginobili and Tony Parker and made them Hall of Famers. It's a great situation. And I think when I hear this guy, Wembanyama, talk like that, it makes me believe he's wise beyond his years. He understands that I have to grow, I have to develop, and I have the great teacher to help me, and I'm willing to listen and take the necessary steps to get to where I need to go.
Well, I think it's so interesting with some of these guys who were stars in Europe coming up because the system's so different there. They're playing professionally younger than any of the American kids. And so you have a Luka who has been on he was on a professional team at 13 years old. He was doing media from 13, 14, 15 years old, grew up in that spotlight. Victor Wembanyama has been under the white hot lights and doing media and professional sort of, operation for years. And that is a very different level of polish than coming to the NBA, and you can see it with him, is that he's sort of ready to go from a maturity standpoint.
Yeah, that's why, those guys are much more mature. I don't know about their game is rapidly getting better than ours. I mean, because of this. It's absolutely different, but now this is a Euro league.
I mean, look, the top players.
Like, if you look at the odds of MVP this year, it's probably going to be Greek Freak, Embiid, Joker, and Luka Doncic.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Joel's not from Europe, but yes, the idea that so many international players are.
You know what we need to do? We need to change some more rules in the NBA.
What, you want to keep out the good players?
No, we need to just evolve.
Okay.
We need to just evolve. We need to widen the lane.
Okay.
Like they do in Europe.
Yeah.
Since so many resources are put into the European game now, and so many great players are coming from Europe, widen the lane now. It's that time.
Okay.
We don't have back down players no more.
Yeah.
Allow the goaltending off the rim.
Yep.
I think as we continue to evolve, we need to implement these rules. It's a world game now.
Yeah.
So it should be no matter where we go, these are the rules.
The consistency.
The concency.
Yeah.
It's not an adjustment period.
That makes sense.
So if you're listening, Adam, I think, I need to be on the committee. So.
I mean, look, the last 5 years have all been foreign-born players have been MVP.
That played under those type of rules.
I mean, that tells you something.
Yeah.
5 years of MVPs from international spots.
Yep.
That is when you think back to the Dream Team and what the late great David Stern wanted to get done.
Yep.
That's pretty incredible.
That is incredible. I mean, we were so far ahead of the game, and now 30 years later, they've not only caught up, they have surpassed the American players at the top.
Yeah. I mean,
and so
MVP,
that just
5
shows you how
MVPs in a row.
much the game has grown worldwide, how much influence that dream team had on the world, and how much further we can go. You know, there's still some untapped countries that we ain't got no players from.
Well, the investment the NBA is making in Africa right now is
exactly.
so impressive. And you look at players like Joel coming from there, and you think they're opening up so much potential of guys who could really be stars.
And then another thing, it's time to move the All-Star game overseas, London.
What?
Let's start in London.
Ooh, is that because you want to go to London? Or is that because you think it's a good idea?
This is a world game. London will be the perfect spot. They have the arena.
Right.
We play exhibition games there.
We do. I was going to say, we already played a bunch of international games.
Yeah, so that'll be the perfect first spot to take the All-Star game overseas. I need to be on the committee. I got so many, and the world can travel from there.
Right.
To come to games. Yeah, I mean, London is a great starting point for an overseas All-Star game.
All right, but you played in the league and All-Star break. You guys were always like honored, but also a little annoyed because you wanted the days. And they've actually added, since your day, they've added padding around it. You had to basically get off the court in Boston, go straight and play an All-Star, and then go straight back to playing again. They've now added some padding. But you really think you could get guys to go to London?
Yeah, I mean,
from
we're
California?
only talking about, out of 450 players, we're talking about 24 guys.
You got to pay for all their private jets.
Man, the way they get paid now, they can get their own.
That'd be fun.
That'll be fun. You make it fun, man, and you open it up. This is an international game. It's time for us to take it there.
Right. I like it. Well, you've got kids who play. What do you think? And I mean, T-Mac was just sitting here talking about his AAU teams. Like, to me, G League and the Ignite team that they've got going is going to help foster some more American players. To me, the AAU system does not always foster the best of the American players. We've seen colleges sort of go through this crazy metamorphosis, and now that, we had the one and done era, but now we've got the NIL era where guys are sometimes wanting to stay in college. We certainly see on the women's side, they're making more money in college than they are in the W, so that's been an interesting change and stuff. Like, when you look at American basketball right now, how do you feel?
I think it's great for the kids to take advantage and, because they get exposed as kids, with their name and jersey sales. In college, I had like the #1 jersey sale in Kansas. You look up and great that there's an opportunity in case they don't make it to the top, to like at least they can like get something for what the influence they had at a young age, because now we live in a social media driven world, because you see this guy out of college, name is so big that he can drive a product or drive something and actually make some money doing it. I think it's great. But on the flip side, I think it's taken away the competitive nature of the game, which was exciting for me to watch guys diving on the floor or not. Now we're seeing in the AAU circuit, you're seeing what they call it, load management in the AAU circuit.
I mean, that's crazy. Although those guys, by the way, I do think youth players are overplayed, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's more tournaments than ever.
There's more tournaments than ever. They're asking these kids to travel.
Yeah.
They're teenagers. They should be sleeping.
That's
I mean, you know how teenagers sleep. They should be sleeping. Instead, they're on airplanes. They're,
I agree with that part.
Doing all that stuff. So I don't.
In all actuality, it's preparing them for the next level. They go from like, damn, we playing every day, every week. That's what college is. That's what the NBA is.
That's what the NBA is. College is a little lighter,
college
but
not so much, but then you're mentally preparing yourself to what it's going to be like. Yeah, we're going to get in at 4 a.m. Yeah, we only got a half a day of rest. So mentally and physically, you can prepare yourself for that. They're more ready now than my generation was.
Right.
Kevin was the first one to come out of high school.
Yeah.
Now, he started that whole coming out. Now they're physically and mentally ready coming out of high school or 1 year of college.
And again, I think G League Ignite kind of gives that little professionalism we were talking about over in Europe. It gives the American, a lot of these American kids that taste here if that's the route that they want to go. I like that they have more options. That's good.
That's what I do like, the options that they have now.
Right.
If a guy, because in my era, if you don't pass the standard test, you go to JUCO, or now these guys have options like, man, I can just turn pro.
Yep.
I'm a top player right now. I can go to Australia. I can go to the G League, the G Unite.
Right.
And there's so many, and that's what I do love about the system, how we're changing, because like you said earlier, the guys in Europe, they go pro at 13.
I was going to say, a bunch of those guys have been in this environment. They're arriving more mature.
So I like those opportunities for these kids.
Now, Shaq and some of those guys have talked about, well, we didn't have NIL money, but we had plenty of money still at the college level. Guys getting paid under the table. How much did you see in your Kansas days, Paul
I didn't see nothing, but it did affect some of these guys' legacies, too, that got caught.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that this opened up because, like, you got a kid from the neighborhood who don't have much, who you're going to take me to your college, you're going to expose me, and I get nothing out of it. Like, here's a bag behind the table. Nobody knows about it. Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
You're going to bring more money to the school than I'm going to give you anyway.
Yeah. 100%.
So, I'm glad that they've taken that to where they can do it in the right way, to where the kid can leverage their fame to something that benefits them and their family.
Well, look, 3 of the top 5 players in this year's draft came from like G League Ignite, Overtime Elite, like one of those other kind of opportunities as opposed to college. So it's going to be interesting as we keep looking at the tournament.
They need to open it back up for the high school kids, though.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I thought that was going to be part of this CBA. I absolutely thought, because the union and the league have been, Adam's been talking about changing it back to 18 for years now. And they kind of kept pushing to the CBA, but I think they just couldn't agree on all the particulars.
It makes more sense now because it's not football. The physicality is not
different.
the same anymore. Wembanyama 7'6", weighs 200 pounds. Like, you're not worried about a kid.
7'4", by the way, with an 8-foot wingspan.
You're not worried about the kid dealing with the physicality anymore because it's not that type of game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, look, I think that it's a no-brainer, especially since you do have these other options. If it was just league or bust, like it was back when KG or T-Mac were there, then it becomes a little bit, you have those flame outs and guys, you're basically spending crazy money on 18-year-olds and you don't know what's going to happen and all that stuff. But the fact that there's steps now that guys can take pro-wise and stuff, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I want to see the best of the best. I don't know. All right. We're going to take another quick break. We will be back with some Summer League royalty. Stay tuned.
All right.
Welcome back to Showball Live. We're already chatting here on set. Paul Pierce with me, and we are joined by the royalty of NBA Summer League, Warren Legary, Albert Hall. Thank you guys so much for making the time. These guys are the reason we have NBA Summer League. They organize the whole thing, and I was saying to Paul, like, there were other Summer League sort of games and sort of loose things before this, but you guys are the ones who have set the standard. This is a whole different ball of wax. And I guess just give us a little education, Warren, on how this all started, because you're talking a little bit off air just now.
My whole career has been based on hanging out at summer leagues. That's why I'm in the NBA. When I first started off, I was an overseas agent. I had no chance of being an NBA agent. Nobody would talk to me, and rightfully so. If I had a choice of going with me or a real NBA agent, I'd go with those guys.
Okay, by the way, he's being modest. I should also introduce that he's one of the sort of legendary agents of the NBA, and that you've had almost every coach on your roster at this point.
And probably losing them all too,
Well,
but that's
please.
another story.
Please.
But one of the things that when I went to summer leagues, the most important thing as a learning agent, you got to listen.
Right.
You can't be talking all the time. You never get smarter. So one of the things you're hearing is also opportunities, who's looking for players. But you also hear what they, you go, well, I don't really want to be here. This summer league is this summer league is that. Man. And guys start looking at their watches. That's not a good sign at a summer league.
Yeah.
Our deal was, let's get those watches off where people don't ever want to leave. So we're taking in all the different things that are going on and looking, why are they not working? It's expensive, the satellites, you have to go.
Right.
Maybe you hit somebody you're trying to see. Most of the times you didn't.
Right.
And you also talk to the scouts because they determine whether or not a league is going to survive or not.
Sure.
Everybody thinks it's management, it's this. So there are three guys
Okay.
that we knew we had to impress.
Okay.
If we got them on board.
Okay.
Really the legendary Dickie McGuire,
Okay.
who was with the Knicks, Scotty Sterling, who was also there, and Sacramento, and Dickie Baker.
Okay.
We always made sure they had a front
The
row
best
view.
seats.
Yep, best seats.
We
in the
had
house.
stats before the quarter finished, but the most important thing of all, what's important to an NBA scout? What's really the fundamental part? Don't spend your per diem.
Right. Oh, so you give them food?
So our VIP rooms, first thing we put our money into, make sure that people have a great experience in the room.
But that's legit. I mean, when you think about a player experience, what do you want? You want a nice locker room, you want good food, you want to be in a place like Las Vegas. I mean, that's obviously the other genius thing about this is,
Genius, I tell you.
God
Genius.
God love the rest of America,
Timing is
but if
great.
you talk about what NBA players want, Las Vegas in the off season is what they
Little bit
want.
of everything.
And it's not just the young kids who want to come here, but as you say, it's the scouts who want to come here. It is management. It is coaches. This has turned into such a place to see and be seen. You don't need that. You're good. You don't need it.
I don't need this.
You don't need it.
I
You're
hear
good.
you.
You're all right,
you can hear
Warren.
me. You're all good. But no, and that also it's a place that players want to come to, the older players, to come support the younger guys.
So
And
it's not my
that's-
winning personality. You're
I
telling me
mean,
it's Las Vegas.
We love you,
Yeah.
but
It's
also
the one-stop shop in the off season now where they can come in, see their owners, see their young players, connect with their vets, get some shots up, check the box for the summer. They're good.
Remember, in the old days, right after the draft, you never heard, saw nothing until training camp. You didn't know how that guy was going to show up either. So one of the things that we were selling them on, and look, in the beginning, wasn't easy. Vegas, are you kidding me? We're going to put players there?
Right.
But what you don't understand, Vegas, their security systems aren't reactive. They're preventative.
Yeah.
They're already on stuff.
Oh, so
beforehand.
was there any pushback or concern from teams or the league
Always.
office about
Early on,
we
yeah.
don't want these guys in Las
With Commissioner
Vegas?
Stern, he was like, no, because he had the old perception game of strip, nothing good's going to happen. This is only going to be in disaster. Adam was our guardian angel. In the beginning. He saw the vision of fastest growing school districts, communities. There was a big community outside of the strip.
Well, Paul has owned property here in Las Vegas on and off. I mean, you
Yeah.
believe in this city.
Let me tell you something from a player's perspective. Before Summer League even came here, a lot of guys was doing workouts out here. A lot
With
of guys
Gerg.
would be out
Remember
here
with Gerg?
with Gergovich. I was one of those guys, and then Budazar. And guys were buying homes out here for tax purposes, and they had places we can go work out. So I think it was such a great idea because you've turned this into a destination for the summer to where not only the guys that's playing in the league, but guys, star players come watch the games. You got workouts out here that people can still do and not get off their schedule. You know,
Right.
they can be still on what they're doing for the summer. You know, you see contracts are being signed here now, and it's almost like a mini All-Star 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like All-Star type
festival.
of basketball festival. And then now this year we bring NBA Con in. Yeah. So it just feels like
WNBA today starts.
And what you're noticing too is during all NBA Summer League, more artists are coming in performing at
around it.
Did
you go to Usher last night?
No, I want to though. But you see what I'm saying? It's
we had a little Showtime event last night. I'm going to tell you what happened there. But
big deal. Like people look forward to this part of the summer.
Yeah.
In the middle of July, Summer League is happening. I mean, it's a tourist attraction now.
It's a destination. And that's what we're trying to build the idea. Early on, one of the things that Albert and I really stressed, if you really want to see the stars of tomorrow, see them today.
Right.
Be there first. Be able to tell that story. Because no matter what, most of the fans who come to support us, it's going to be tough to afford an NBA game.
Right.
So we put together something that may not, consist of an NBA game, but it's a guaranteed NBA experience.
Yes.
And that's what you want them to leave with, that feeling.
Well, I think you guys are so smart too. When you look at the signage around Las Vegas and around the arena, a lot of it is, hey, Kevin Durant played in this year, and you've got the photo of a young Kevin Durant in his summer league uniform, and you've got the year underneath, and that goes all the way back. No, but I mean, Giannis, like there's so many big names that now you've got those posters up, and it just reminds people, hey, you could be seeing the MVP.
Right.
Last
You
year's
probably
All-Star
are seeing
game in
a future
Utah,
MVP.
Only one player, LeBron, who was in the summer before. Everybody else started here.
Yeah.
This was their home.
No, that's a good point too, Rachel, because when you see these players come through here, like they haven't developed their identity, right?
Yeah.
So it shows they're all trying to figure it out. Some of them didn't play very well in Summer League, right? And then you get a guy like a Steph who says, wow, this guy's a little bit special. And then they go back, and now we've added, when they win this championship, we got a ring now, right? So they can kind of share thoughts and moments from that title run, whatever, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
But little known fact, Steph wasn't his leading scorer on his Summer League team.
Yeah.
It was Anthony Morrow. He set the record. Steph was like, where do I belong?
Right.
And he had Don Nelson going on at that time. Donnie likes them big guards, so he's looking at. So there was all kinds of things going on where this became a challenge. One of the things that we've always seen, most players assume they get what the NBA is until they see the speed and the strength.
Right.
Different game.
Yeah.
Their first Summer League is, oh my goodness.
By the way,
especially the Europeans.
Well, I was gonna say, by the way, Anthony Morrow, I like how you just tossed that out. 47 points.
Yeah, in the
was
Summer
is
League.
that still the record for
still is,
most
yeah.
points
How
in a
about
Summer League
Banks?
game?
What was Banks'
He had
score?
42,
That was
I think,
2009,
Marcus.
right?
Marcus Banks.
Marcus
Yeah.
Banks has 42, shuts it down, says, guys, I want my guaranteed if it was with you.
Bellinelli dropped 37 his first game. So, I mean, there's some of those, Anthony Randolph, I think he had a 40-point game as well. But
I love some of the moments, too, we've gotten. Unfortunately, Scoot Henderson couldn't play the other night against Victor Wembanyama, but you've gotten some great early matchups of top draft picks here. We had the earthquake game a couple years ago. I mean, there's been some legendary.
I wear this so there are no more earthquakes.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. I'm glad that works. I've got some other places that might like that bracelet as well. Then, what are your guys' memories of sort of the games, the moments that stand out to you on this journey here? It's been 20 years.
yeah, we get asked this quite a bit, and I mean, there's certain moments every year. There's somebody who takes center stage and kind of stars, right? And I mean, we go back to like when we had Wiggins and Jabari Parker in Cox.
Yep.
Like that was a crazy game. And then you try to match up 1 versus 2, Durant, Oden, that was a big one. I always come back to a one that was like the epitome of Summer League was Jeremy Lin and John Wall.
Right.
Right.
Against the known.
Like no one knew who Jeremy Lin was, and
Right.
he just turned it out in this building. You couldn't even, there was no room in there. And it's like,
Early insanity.
I had to pluck some owners who were waiting patiently, a little agitated, in line. It was a 40-minute wait to get into Cox.
Wow.
I had to grab them, say, they're with me.
Well, I mean, by the way,
to save the fee for the following year.
most people who aren't lucky enough to come here, what you guys are talking about is that there's 2 courts, and Thomas and Mack Court has the bigger court, but Cox Pavilion is sort of the smaller, more intimate court. And when you do see a great matchup on that court, it is pretty magic.
even yesterday, there was 4 good games in Cox, and it's just that there's something about that arena. It's like the Rucker on steroids kind of thing, when it's bumping in there.
It's really got good. Struess wrote an article after he made the Miami team talking about how Summer League, playing in that gym, basically propelled and
That's your
secured
guy,
his future.
Struess.
Yeah.
Good player.
Yeah, I mean,
Paul's a big Struess supporter.
I can't stand Spruce. He did Boston. He knocked Boston down, man. But you know, much props to him.
But here's a surprising, one of my favorite moments. As we're trying to gain traction, credibility.
Yeah.
The Maloofs were unbelievably supportive of us.
Yeah.
These guys were always making sure we had what we need. Their hotel, they would give us a credit
Former
card instead of
owners,
asking for free tickets.
Mayors of Vegas, yeah.
But Ron Artest, he's there, he's going, well, I want to play. And the team is saying no. And I'm going, we need Ron Artest on this court.
Yeah.
we played his
by the way,
new
this
CD.
is probably, wait. So Ron Artest is already how many years in?
He was like probably
He was
3-4
rehabbing,
years.
just like we did.
And Amari was there yesterday. And I talked to Amari about he played 2 games in Summer League after his microfracture.
But to get him to play, we promised he just produced a new record. We would play your music all day in the arena. He was out playing, and Rick wasn't happy, Adelman, but business is business.
Right.
Okay?
That's right. You gotta go for what you're gonna go
amazing.
for. And look, we talk about some of the guys who are the stars of tomorrow. Victor Wembanyama, from all we can tell, and obviously anything can happen, but he sure looks like he's going to be a big, big star in this league. And there was some talk of him debuting in the Sacramento Summer League, and then suddenly, no, it's got to be in Las Vegas or nothing. So apparently,
We know nothing.
Yeah.
We know nothing.
It just worked out. We played our cards right. It worked out. So.
It's like they've created such a big thing here. It's like you don't even know that they have games in Sacramento. You don't even know they have games in Utah in the summer. It's like it goes under the radar, and then everybody's like waiting. We're waiting to get to Vegas.
Yeah.
One of the things that we noticed, what gave us a real lift, social media, when it first came in. Instead of us running from it, we embraced it. Because we knew this was going to be our second voice of why people should be here.
Right, put the clips on. We don't.
The content that comes out of Summer League is unreal.
So Orlando, when John Hammonds and Jeff went down there, he called me. He says, "We're canceling Orlando." I said, "No, don't cancel."
Right.
No, we're going to. I said, "John, I need you to have that league. I don't want all 30. Believe it or not," he said, "I don't want all 30 teams because if you have a monopoly, you have nothing to compare with when you start complaining." Right. Little known secret. People complain a lot in the NBA. Just a little. No, just a tiny bit. No, tiny bit.
Of course.
So we said there are some coaches who don't feel comfortable at Summer. They don't like the exposure and that.
Right.
And we want to give them a refuge someplace else. John says, We got so many complaints from players who said guys who were free agents were getting more social media coverage than anybody was getting in Orlando because nobody's allowed in.
Right.
And nobody's encouraged to post stuff. He says that's becoming huge, not only with the players, but their agents as they create their brand.
Yeah.
Well, you guys started with what, 6 teams playing 13 games, right?
Yep, 6 teams, and then went to 12. We say we had 6 handshakes. Warren had 6 handshakes, and I had a box of flyers.
And they didn't stay for all 5.
That was basically
They didn't stay for all 5 games. They stayed for 3 because there was already a commitment elsewhere.
Right.
But you rely on friendships, hopefully, to carry you through on that.
But went from 6 to 12, and after the first year, we're like, this is pretty good. The feedback was really good, and then doubled it. And then 18 teams after that, 24, and then 30.
But our first year, we discovered we catered to the crazies. The nuts.
The fanatic fans.
What does that say about me, Warren?
Yeah.
But that came later.
I've been a long
You're
time
a
Summer
refined
League
crazy.
supporter.
These were crazy crazies. They weren't refined like you, Rachel. So we didn't have the box score. We're still trying to find the balls we were going to play with.
Right.
So all of a sudden, the box score was up 20 minutes late. Death threats.
Oh, we had like 90
Seriously?
emails going, what the hell?
What are you
We're
guys
like,
doing? You amateur hour guys, get this. We're like, oh, we're on to something.
Yeah.
And then our system, we crashed one year too.
Yeah, we crashed, and then it was funny. We went into New York, and we were presenting Commissioner Stern when he retired. We presented him a book with like all the Summer League history,
right?
And he wanted to go back and look at all the numbers that crashed the internet. He was like, "This is interesting. How did you do that?" But it's the content that people push everywhere. I mean, that really helps drive the brand. It's become there's so much business taking place around the event now. Basketball is the core. The hoop that's the marquee product, but everything around it really lifts up the Summer League too. You got meetings, you have obviously, like you said, NBA Con and WNBA All-Star, and Adams, addressed each and every year, what's going on in the league at Summer League. So that's helped us.
But one of the things we're really, really proud of, obviously we're trying to grow talent on the court.
Yeah.
That's what Summer League is about. How do you get better? Find out what your weaknesses are, work on those after you finish up here. But we're also growing talent around the court to be able to. We have a classroom downstairs that's teaching the cap, analytics, scouting, and everything. Nobody knows about it. It's under the radar. But we've already seeded.
Rachel knows about it.
Say, I've
Rachel's done
participated. I know about it.
The unsophisticated don't know about it, okay? But the one thing is, these kids, we've already got, how many, 60 in the league around there?
Like 200.
Well, I have clearly lost count, okay?
Yeah. But they've become like, for example, the other day, Nick Uren is named GM of the Phoenix. He was one of our first interns. Right.
He was driving. We had him go pick up Steve Kerr.
Yep.
He was in the transportation part
Oh,
of our
wow.
side.
Yeah.
I mean, that started a beautiful friendship, though, because look what
100%.
happened.
And that's
we know about the 2015 finals. So.
And that's the other thing too, Paul. You mentioned like, hey, All-Star, but All-Star you got to be in like 9 places at once in 3 days. Summer League's 11 days, right? You develop good relationships. You have time to, break bread and have a glass of wine, whatever, in the evenings and recap everything. But a lot of great relationships develop.
Yeah, it's definitely a great place for networking there. Like if you're a former player or a current player, or, you may be a free agent. This is a great place to be.
We had a bunch of workouts this year.
Yeah, a lot of guys
Besides
throughout the league are doing their
out.
workouts out here, behind the scenes working out for teams. So it's definitely a place to where this is where you want to be at for these 2 weeks during summer league. If you're trying to get on, maybe an interview for a coaching job. It's like little things that y'all don't see behind the scenes that are happening because of this.
Not unlike what they do with players trying out to make the team, they're doing the same thing with some young coaches.
Yes.
Let's see how you work.
Yes.
And this is a real, it's not an NBA game environment.
Yeah.
It's as close as you're going to find so that you can do the stress test to see whether or not.
I think that's such an underrated part of what goes on here because, like, you look at Becky Hammond, right? Who we have we got visitors. Speaking of coaches, we got Tibbs walking by here. You never know who's going to show up.
By the way, he now is a big supporter of ours. In the beginning, I'm not going, I'm not doing it, I don't do it. And now it's like, what else we got?
Yeah, no, 100%. But no, I mean, like I was about to say, Becky Hammond, right, won Summer League as a coach here, and I think that really opened a lot of eyes to like, oh, by the way, look at the players respect her. Look at sort of what, especially her being a former player and kind of having that credibility and then going on and having Pop, of all people, trust her in that way, and then them actually winning, has led to some of her later opportunities. I absolutely believe that without that Summer League stepping stone, things would have gone a little bit different in terms of teams want to interview her, the job she has now, which she's doing amazing. I mean, just all the stuff that's an
Steve
underrated
Kerr
part.
coached his first game in Summer League. Remember, he looked to one man. It moves,
I didn't
moves a
know it
lot
was this
faster.
fast. I thought it was fast, but I forgot how fast it was.
You know what? I'm going to start capitalizing off of this. Now that I think about it, I need to throw a basketball camp out here during Summer League.
Oh, well, there you go.
And then I can
Can
have
I
all the
sign
young,
up?
can I,
I got
now,
that hip.
I can have all the young guys coming to draft picks can come in and speak to the campers. That's another way to capitalize.
There you go.
Next year, you're going to have the Paul Pierce camp.
Is Summer League a part of this deal already?
I was going to say, you need to work
I
out
need
like
to bring
an
the
exchange
players in. They can
program.
come. That's easy. Have some
Right?
players come talk.
Right.
There's so many different ways you can capitalize
Well,
on
this
it.
weekend, like last weekend was opening weekend, very busy, everything. This weekend, AAU tournaments start.
Yeah.
So we have
Big
everybody
AAU
coming in town. We'll have a lot of younger players in the gym today, tomorrow, throughout the weekend.
Forget younger players. You got all these retired players, NBA players, whose kids have AAU teams.
Yeah.
It's incredible. We just had T-Mac in here. He's got 3 AAU teams under his purview. Chris Paul has a bunch of AAU teams. You've got all these like NBA dads who now are bringing their kids to Vegas for these
I think
teams.
that's what Carmelo's here for, right?
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the whole basketball ecosystem, right? That's really what it is, a convergence here for 2-3 weeks in Vegas.
Well, look, I mentioned, vast experience in the game. Both of you guys have. Warren, you, because, you're very old.
I'm old.
Have
That's what
been, have been around. What, I'm curious sort of as you've seen things change in the NBA over you tell me, how many years have you been in the business?
More than I can count. So
All
that's
right.
a lot, right? 30.
We're
Maybe
going
30
for,
plus.
okay,
30 plus.
more than 3 decades.
Right.
Paul, you've been around the game since what year were you drafted?
I was drafted in '98.
Okay. I mean, look, 98 is getting closer to 30
This is
years
you're
than
one
we'd
of the
all
great
like to
Chris
think.
Wallace stories too, okay?
I know. And I always run into Chris Wallace here in Summer League. I saw him last night.
What do you guys think about the way you both have seen the game change in that period?
I mean, I've seen it just grow unbelievably, not only on money-wise and talent-wise, it's just all across the board, and I think over time things always have to evolve. And the way the game is being played, the way the players are more skilled, they're more knowledgeable, the positionless basketball, I mean, it's beautiful to watch, I always say things always get better over time. And just like y'all have grown Summer League, the players have grown, the money has grown, the television, the social media. I mean, things is just, it makes me want to go back. Me and KG was talking about we need to come back and get a 10-day.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way,
man, oh man.
Just the
there'll
money.
be a lot of teams trying to get that.
The money they're making, you want to consider it, I'm sure.
I don't know.
Oh,
But
man.
you know what? The thing that I've noticed, the information, it is to the point, instinct, we don't trust no stinking instincts. Everything is, and that's a mistake. And that's the thing that I think has to be corrected.
It's got to be a combination, right?
But it has to be a combination. But that's the one thing. This just, all the analytics, all the other stuff, it gets to the point that maybe it's too much.
Yeah.
But it's necessary in order sometimes to ferret out stuff that you didn't think you were going to find, because your eyes tell you one thing and the numbers go, well, maybe I take a second look. And sometimes the second look is a game changer.
Yeah, and I mean, the globalization is finally here, right? You look at the hype
talking about
behind
that.
Victor,
Yeah.
right? When did you think, Paul, when you're playing, they're going to hype up a foreign player like this? I mean, obviously he's a unique.
18-year-old from France.
Yeah,
I mean, that used
from
to be a
France.
stash player, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not a guy like Victor, but
Nowitzki
that
never
idea.
got anywhere near
Like
this.
right now, LeBron is probably the face of the league still.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when LeBron leaves, there's going to be a European that's going to be the face of the league. And nobody really thought they would ever see that. Because when we talked about earlier, when you go back to the Dream Team, which had a major influence on
Absolutely.
the players in Europe and
The
all
development
over
of
the world, and to where we are today, they finally not only caught up but surpassed us at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look at the last 4 or 5 MVPs,
MVPs are all foreign-born
they're
players.
all foreign-born players.
Yeah.
That we're going to see in the next 3 years. It may be a guy like Joker or Luka Doncic that's the actual face of the league, where you might be seeing him on a box of Wheaties. Or
I'm
Giannis.
interjecting.
Or
I think
Giannis.
Yeah.
I'm interjecting
You
though in
know?
terms of marketing. I still think LeBron is going to retire before Steph. Steph has already said he wants to play late because his dad played until he was 37 or 38, and he wants to do that too. I think that when LeBron leaves, Steph will be the focus of the league because he's Steph Curry, and then we will see kind of who comes up next, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, Giannis
in
does
3-4
some
years, it could be
commercials.
Wembanyama.
Doesn't
Right.
well, that's the thing. I mean, Giannis does some stuff. He
if he
doesn't love to do a
develops-
lot of stuff. Joker hates doing stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
when Nike did Nike always does like a congratulations commercial of their big athlete when they win the finals, and he wasn't in it. That it was just,
But they put Nike shoes on his horses that he does.
they did.
Yeah. But even then, Jamal's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
So you have the
Yeah.
champs are both international players. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
But listen, we never try to look past what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes we sneak just a peek.
right.
This has been unbelievable this year, really. The year of the Wembanyama,
Yes.
some of the other players. Speaking of LeBron,
Yes.
the Summer League of Bronny.
I was gonna say-
we're looking forward to that one.
That might
That's
be
next
summer.
year.
That's
It is.
next summer.
Right.
Next
I mean, that is
summer.
next
Oh, man.
summer, right? That's. I mean, they've all said
It will
said it. That
We
will
haven't
be.
thought about that at all.
No,
not
hasn't
at all.
come
All of Southern
up.
California.
Haven't thought about it.
We only about 40% of our audience from Southern California,
right.
so we haven't thought about it at all.
I mean,
Yeah.
it will be nuts. It's always nuts.
I mean-
we like good nuts.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, there's so much stuff sort of congealing in Las Vegas too. We had Adam Silver just this last week talk about the possibility of an expansion team here. And he's talked about sort of the 3 steps, right? He wanted the CBA done, he wanted some other stuff done, but that will, once he gets
TV,
the
and
media
then the
rights
TV
done, that's the
rights,
second
yeah.
step. And then
Then
the third
expansion.
step might be expansion in Las Vegas and Seattle, or is the 2 cities. Do you think that would be good for you guys if there's a professional team here, or do you think that there'd be a comparison issue, or how do you guys feel about that?
Either our work is done, it moves on, or the people who are coming in see the fact that we can be a valuable asset to help continue and help build their brand here through Summer League.
Yeah, I mean, we've been around for 20 years now, and before the Raiders and the Aces and the Knights and all that, so we help, as Warren says, soften the beach a little bit. And I think now you've proven that a pro team can work, right? Who knows? We're not in those conversations on when it's going to take place.
We're not even invited. I'm insulted.
I mean,
But we always look at ourselves like Summer League as the 31st NBA franchise. So if there is one here, I mean, we'll find a way to seamlessly make it all work, in our opinion. But look, I think it can. The market has proven that it's successful.
It's a very different product. I mean, Paul and I live in LA. We've got the Drew League. It's not like that takes away from the Lakers, the Clippers.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's a very different thing y'all are doing at a different time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, it gives the fans who can't go to a game a chance, this opportunity to see pro players. You know, these, even though they're not your stars that you see in the NBA, they will be your future stars. And people don't know that these guys are stars probably in other countries also. Yeah. And so, in that perspective, then this will always have a place to breathe.
Yeah.
It just grows to fan knowledge. Yeah. And fans are very sophisticated. They devour information and all that. So they sometimes are telling us what they want to see and stuff, and we listen because we don't have all the answers.
Yeah, and we see now it was funny because when the Kentucky thing was really rolling, and guys were coming into the league, we would get those fans traveling from Kentucky here, and the Texas guys and the Kansas guys, and so that element is going to continue as well. I mean, it helps the college game, I think, a little bit, and those fans follow them into the pros.
And the way I look at this, it's more than just the summer league games, and it's the experience. You know, that I see kids in these lobbies getting autographs like the NBA con. So I think that's going to grow. You know, so like if you say, all right, I'm going to go to Summer League, but not only am I going to go to Summer League, I can go to NBA con. The next step is y'all getting performances at these games, halftime performances. Lil Baby needs to be performing. I mean, come on. That's all part of all of this.
It's all part. We had a little
entertainment. This is an experience.
We actually did it last year. We dropped some in our summer league sessions where we had some live artists, up and coming artists, kind of like the summer league players.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, you're gonna sell it out even more.
Yeah,
you know, where they don't show up for the game, but they show up for the artist.
We want to,
you know, so it's all about the experience.
Paul, you're onto something because one of the areas there is so much because fans, we fill up the arena almost.
Right.
That music park will fill the rest of it.
Yeah,
right there.
Okay.
And then, ironically, we had an artist last year, Eloise.
Yeah.
She had never been to a basketball game. All she talks about is basketball now. So there is the conversion part that comes with this. Once you're around it, it's hard to resist it. It really is.
Well, we're talking about these being affordable games. What are for people out there in America watching, for ticket prices, what can they expect if they want to come to Vegas and see some of these games?
I mean, it's the best value in sports. It's $45 plus fees for 8 games of NBA basketball.
And we don't even charge for air conditioning, which
Las Vegas, that's saying
this
something.
Year we're
really
and it's free parking. You go there, but we have packages now that you can buy the NBA experiences. You want to meet a legend like Paul Pierce, and we have different courtside seating options, reserve seating options, season tickets. But really, the general fan for $50, you go watch 8 games of basketball, and then you've seen the concourse, how we build it out. We have the sneaker lab, we've got the Instagram house, we've got 2 live studios now on set, and 2K Sports has been great partners. So we just want to keep growing those elements as well.
And the best part, by having 2 venues, you walk through the concourse.
Yeah.
Danny told me this story. Ainge goes, and so I'm walking through there. This guy comes up to me. You can't be. He says, can't be what?
Right.
You can't be Danny Ainge. I better be.
Right, exactly.
Then he starts killing him about a trade. And Danny's like debating with him there. The fan comes back. We saw something where he wrote, greatest experience of my life. Yeah. I'm walking. And you never know who you're going to be sitting next to.
But that is true because there's only one way to get from one court to the other, and it's through the public. We got no tunnels underneath.
You're coming there, you ain't going.
No, 100%. It's a great experience. Who do you remember, Paul, that when you were a kid, sneaking? I know you snuck into some games at the Forum.
Yeah.
Like, who do you remember because we're talking about these kids or young fans who were able to see? Who do you remember being like, I got to see this guy?
Well, as a kid, for me, it was Magic Johnson.
That is it.
I mean, come on. I grew up right down the street from the
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, same.
I mean, what better player who defined a whole generation who put the NBA pretty much to the next level, and I got a chance to see him live as a kid. I mean, now you get to see the early stages of that next Magic Johnson in the summertime. But
what was the impact on you as a kid? Because that's the thing I'm curious about is that, you sat there and I've talked to you a lot about your story and where you came from, and you always believed in yourself, but to actually see, not just on TV, but in person, what it was like.
He just made me want to love the game and play the game. And see, Magic is unlike anybody else because he came from a very competitive where they knock you down. But he did everything with a smile on his face,
and a flair.
And it was just like, oh man, let me go to the park and practice this. So he was just a major influence on me. And a lot of people don't know when I got to Inglewood High School, and I talked to Pat Riley about this this past year, they used to practice at my high school. So every times I'll sneak in, they'll lock it down though, but somehow I knew ways to get in our gym.
Yeah, of course.
And I'll be under the bleachers kind of like watching them practice.
No way.
Man, 100%. 100%. I'm
Can
under
you
the
imagine?
bleachers watching the Lakers practice in our gym. They didn't have practice facilities, so they practiced at different places. And Inglewood High is one of the places.
Well, look, Jason Kidd, we had Jason Kidd on our Showtime show Headliners earlier this year, and he was saying that the Golden State Warriors practiced at his high school, and they had him jump into practice a bunch of times.
Oh, word? Man, he was that good.
Skyline.
Yeah.
Did he go to Skyline?
He went to St. Joe's.
That's right.
But they also, when they were
TP
playing
went to Skyline.
they would go to Kezar.
Yeah.
I actually went to a game with Gerg and George Karl. We saw Peyton. We saw, I think he was just coming on.
Kid, B-Shaw.
That Oakland scene.
That was an Oakland scene.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
were
come
Skyline.
on.
So what we saw those in Kezar in the old days. All those poles are in the way. You have to look like this. Freaking neck later. But the one thing I always loved about Magic Johnson, because one of the themes that I have to really work with my coaches, want to. Magic Johnson, you can see, just wants to play. Not has to play, where some guys get that look. And that's what brings you into it. You just see the joy, just this ecstasy.
Yeah.
And it's infectious.
Yeah.
And if you get people to want to, you own them.
Yeah.
If they have to, you're renting
different.
them.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Man,
and
I'm going to keep that one.
we see that magic here over and over again. I was asking you about changes in the game. Look, you've represented so many coaches over the years. How's the climate for coaches changed in the NBA?
What they're, again, I try to keep current. You always try. Not always easy, because I'm still loyal to my older guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes older guys aren't appreciated, even though they're smarter than anybody else. That's just my opinion. But it's, there is a shift where the game is younger. They feel that they have to have coaches who can relate to the younger players. I still feel you have to have coaches that can still get players to want to learn the game and be able to teach them so they buy in. But that's the challenge right now. And which direction do you go? There's a pendulum. There always has been. There's a type now, and then after that doesn't work. But we're a copycat league.
Yeah.
Whatever wins, we try to copy. Mistake. Because you still have to originate. But you certainly grab the pieces that make sense for your team if it fits. But basketball's a fit. That's what it comes down to.
That's what I was telling you about the
I was
Phoenix
gonna say.
Suns.
Well,
And there are
that's true.
some coaches who fit a team for a certain amount of time.
But you were talking about the coaching staff in Boston, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about how Damon Stoudemire leaving in the middle of last season. It was a little bit of a low-key move. I don't think fans outside of Boston were paying that much of attention, but it really made a huge impact, especially with the first-time head coach losing that kind of voice and experience with the other players. And that's something that when you talk about a lot of the coaches you represent having experience is sort of, to me, you want that balance, right? You want some of the young guys and you want some of the older guys.
Coaches really matter. And before, as you're an egotistical player who think it's a players that dictate what you do, I've learned that it is a coaches league, and you put the right coach in the right place.
Mike Brown.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike Brown, Sacramento. But it can take you from this to that. And I've seen it with Larry Brown turning into Rick Carlisle.
Yep.
Or I don't know who the coach was, but then you bring Phil Jackson over to the Lakers, boom, they win 3. So it really does matter putting the right coaches in the right spot when you have those special talents.
Well, we're seeing teams value that in a different way, too. We've had record-breaking contracts signed just in the past few months. Monty Williams up in Detroit, and we were talking earlier in the show, Greg Popovich in San Antonio. I mean, this is a serious amount of money.
Music to my ears.
Well, as a person who has a percentage of some of these deals, I'm sure it does. But I mean,
we just.
But you see that's
just
their
for
value
it's
to
just
those
your generosity.
franchises, right? Like you say, if you have that right leader, right pieces there, the coach can make all the difference.
Yeah.
Because not only the player can create a winning culture, the coaches can too. And that means something to an organization. When you're trying to draw free agents to a place that don't get free agents, if you have the right coach in place and you create a certain type of culture and environment, because you got to understand the players talk.
Oh, you don't think that Eric Spoelstra is part of the reason Damian Lillard wants to go to Miami? Of course he is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I mean, South Beach could be a reason too.
Well, that's true.
We're not going to
Damian Lillard is a family man, thank you.
That's easy.
But
That's easy right
one
there,
of the things
right?
I do draw a little bit of a line at, they are trying to use analytics to determine who that coach be. That'd be great if you had to oil the parts afterwards, okay? These are living, breathing human beings.
Yes.
You still got to have feel.
And it's still got to be a feel, and there's got to be certain instincts. But you have to understand the players and how he fits those players.
Sure.
That's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, look, too, it's also organizations and their patience. And I'm interested with these bigger coaching contracts, whether we see a change, because so many times when something isn't quite working, first thing to do, fire the coach, right? And part of that is you're locked into these huge player contracts. So they're like, well, firing the coach is the easier move, and the front office guys don't want to fire themselves, so they will take that as the first step. I'm interested to see, now that some of these coaching contracts are getting so big, whether that creates more stability among coaching ranks. And also, we've seen with teams, the teams that are successful are the teams that actually stick with their coaches. And we saw in the NBA Finals this year, both Eric Spoelstra and Mike Malone talked about this before Game 1. I was sitting there, and they were talking about how, I think Spo was the one, he's like, any other team would have fired me 3 times already. and they had some bad seasons. I mean, there was that Dwayne Wade season before they got LeBron. I mean, there was some rough seasons in and around there, and I think that the patience that they've had, the patience that Denver had with Mike Malone when he wanted to impose his will and sort of say, okay, it's my way or the highway, I think we're seeing that rewarded.
Yeah. I mean, those guys have been pretty loyal to their organizations too, but the coaches, I mean, they still have that voice. If they don't make it happen, I mean, they're gone. And
it's
but Mike was
now,
a beneficiary of a pretty sophisticated owner. Stan,
yes.
And that helps.
No, obviously
too.
he's gotten like 5 teams have won championships in the last 2 weeks. It feels like. I mean, that's
and his son Josh. They're really good people.
Yeah.
Who know and can see beyond the immediate, and so that was also a big part.
But then there's some organizations like Toronto. I mean, you get rid of Nurse.
I think that may have been more mutual, but
no, but still, I mean, he won their only championship there. Like, he needs to be rewarded. Like, I mean, come on. Like, long term, you put the players in place. What was the other coach? He just won a championship.
I mean,
and just recently got fired.
Vogel was.
I was going to say Frank Vogel.
Vogel, like Nick Nurse, Vogel. I mean, come on, like.
Well, just look at winning a championship, yes, by the way, that should
that should
absolutely earn you. That should get you 5 years.
6-7 years right there.
A Teflon coating.
Right. Yeah. Right? I mean, the fact that Vogel was scapegoated the way he was just a couple years later, that has bothered me. But look at the guys this year, Doc Rivers, right?
Doc, yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, if Jason Tatum doesn't get hot in the 4th quarter of a Game 7, Doc Rivers is in the Eastern Conference Finals and is still the coach in Philadelphia. Monty Williams, they make the trade for Kevin Durant, which I was a big fan of that trade. I understood what they had to give up. You make it up in the offseason. They're doing that. You knew that they were going to be down some players and down some depth and down some defense when they made that trade for KD. You blame Monty Williams for that? I mean, that's not his fault. And they also made it to the second round. So, I mean, I think the patience with coaches, we've kind of seen it teeter-totter. We've got some organizations that have it and some that don't. But I don't know. You make it to the second round of the playoffs and you lose your job. What do you expect? Only 4 teams make it to the 3rd.
Yeah, but that's a different situation, Rachel, because a lot of times when you bring in new ownership,
right? Well,
you want to make your own imprint on how this organization goes. You know, when Wick Grossbeck first came into the deal, it was curtains for whoever the coaching staff was. You know, so they try to put their own imprint on things, and you see that all across the board. Whenever there's new ownerships, it's goodbye coaches.
There's a pretty good chance.
There's a pretty good chance you're not going to be there the following year.
Yeah. I just want more, and I get that, and I'm glad that Monty landed somewhere that obviously appreciates him. I think he's one of the great guys in our league.
He did just fine, by the way.
Yeah, I was to say, as we mentioned, he's done fine, and an organization that appreciates him. You know, his wife who's going through cancer treatments, and they were able to step in even before he signed his contract and work with him on that. I think it shows the appreciation people have for him around the league. But I don't know. I mean, I look at the role coaches have on the team, the hours they put in, and if you make it to the second round of the playoffs and that's not good enough, again, only 4 teams make the conference finals.
When you make the second
Rachel,
round,
you're bringing tears to my eyes.
When you got championship aspirations, that's not good enough. You can't make it to second round.
Firing people.
You need to get conference finals, because when you got a Kevin Durant, when you got a LeBron James, when you got these caliber players, second round is not good enough. We all know that.
Well, look, Joel Embiid and MVP, and they didn't make it. So, you know, that's where the ownership is thinking, and we'll have to see. Look, again, Nick Nurse, great coach, so I'm very interested to see what he does there. Sometimes you do need a change in voice. I understand that. So, I don't know. The best coach for you, just for you personally in your game, who was it?
Doc Rivers, NBA, but Roy Williams, it was a combination of all my coaches that helped me grow. And a lot of times I say Doc because that's the easiest one to say because I won a championship. When I look back at my career, the reason I was able to be a top Hall of Fame All-Star, Patrick Roy, my high school coach, Roy Williams, my college coach, and Doc Rivers. This is a combination, even Rick Pitino when I first got there. So I'm going to give them all their flowers because it's a combination of all those people that made me who I am. So I want to give a shout out to all my coaches who was part of my development.
You guys think the most underrated coach you've seen pass through in your decades in the game has been?
The most underrated coach? It's hard to be underrated coach.
What do you think, Warren?
A guy who fortunately just made the Hall of Fame last year was Del Harris. Yeah. Really, really smart guy. Knows the game backwards and forwards, can really teach it. Not always, because he was the guy who Phil replaced. So it was.
That's right, Del Harris. That's exactly who it was.
That doesn't help your resume.
Did Rudy Tomjanovich finally make the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
That happened?
He did. Yeah.
Okay, because that took way too long.
Yes.
I think he did.
That took way too long. We've had some coaches where I've been like, they're not in yet. I mean, Greg Popovich is getting in this year, which I understand is probably just a logistics thing with him still coaching and everything. But
I wonder, where you're still coaching.
Right.
Hall of Fame is supposed to be a post sort of honor.
They should start doing that with players.
What, while they're still in the league?
Like you could put LeBron in the Hall of Fame like right now.
Come on. No, you got to have, you know what,
I
like, obviously, Paul, you cannot have people in the Hall of Fame while they're playing in the league.
You can do what coaches in the Hall of Fame. Why is Pop in the Hall of Fame? He's still coaching for 5 more years for $80 more million. He might win more championships. You got to put that on his stone. I mean, you're going to engrave his thing at the Hall of Fame, but it's not complete.
They got a new one. They can get a new one.
They can add to it. So you can throw Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and all them guys in the Hall of Fame right now.
I like that there's some. Look, I mean, the Basketball Hall of Fame shortened the amount of time after your playing time. It used to be longer. Now I think it's only a few years. It used to be 5 years or something like that. I do think to have that little break, though, no matter how many years it is, where you can take a step back, kind of get through that first year when you're not playing, get through another year of perspective. It makes those guys speeches when they come and talk about their appreciation for the game, the fans who haven't seen them maybe in a couple years in that same high-profile way. I think it is nice that there's a little waiting period before we get this Hall of Fame.
And it helps for history to get an alignment on really what their impact was too.
Yep. I mean, look, this year's Hall of Fame class is out of control, right? Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, Pau Gasol, Greg Popovich. I'm not even hitting the women's players who are going in, the international side that's going in. Tony Parker's going in. Right?
See, it's an international European Hall of Fame right now.
Right?
That's what it is.
You got Pau, Nowitzki, Tony Parker.
They announced some of the presenters the other day. So Allen Iverson is going to introduce Dwayne Wade, which is going to be amazing. Allen Iverson, our greatest living American. And we've got I think.
My headphone on?
No. I'm sorry. Do you want to have that argument with me? Because I will have it with you.
I always believe in whatever you tell me.
Thank you. Come on.
I'm a Kool-Aid drinker from way back.
I will stand on the mountaintop on that one. But no, I think Pop is going to have 4 of his guys kind of group introduce him as like Duncan and like kind of one from every era kind of idea. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. I think that's a special experience.
I'd say Ginobili, he's
in. Right?
He just got in.
He just got in last year.
Yep.
Yep. Ginobili, as Shaq would say. So there we go. No.
Would say.
Yes, exactly. Oh, that's true. Yes. Absolutely. No, I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about the breadth of the game. And in the summer, the tentpole events now, and the Hall of Fame just moved their event to more of the heart of the summer in August. You have the youngest guys in the game at Summer League, and then you have the vets and sort of the Hall of Famers kind of bookending.
You know, one of the things
cool.
It's 365 for the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the things Adam wanted to do when we started. It's like, how do we bridge that gap from the off season to the start of training camp? And now you have all of these moments, throughout the summer that help do that.
Baseball, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, a lot more people.
When you talk about sometimes the difference between Europe and here, Europe still doesn't really honor its veteran players because it's there's so many, it's balkanized.
Yeah.
But that's the thing you'd like to see more of so that they're more celebrated. They are here probably more than there.
Wow.
But here we really do treat the heroes as heroes. And that's the great thing. As
it should be. You guys got the championship game coming up this weekend. What is it like as teams sort of get down, other teams start leaving, you've got sort of the final group here, and then it comes down to that big night?
Yeah, I mean, now you're seeing, okay, if we're 3-0, let's actually try to make a run at this thing, right?
Yeah.
Instead of going, hey, we've only got
We're
2
ready to
games
go
left,
home.
let's get out of here. But some of the teams, as players start to establish themselves, Charlotte played a lot better the other night. Indiana got beat last night. So there's a little bit of jockeying. But the reality is, if you're on a roll and you've won 3 in a row and you have a chance, you want to get to that Final Four now. Last year, we just had basically a point system where you were appointed into the championship, and we were like, you have to play
Has to
into
be a
the
tournament,
championship.
yeah.
Even a Final Four, right? So now on Sunday, we'll have those matchups of semis. And, I mean, you may see a guy like Jabari Smith, right? If he's been playing really well, he might lace him up again now.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of, I think, the Final Four mechanism is like, guys may want to play. I want to
Competitive
win
juices.
this. Yeah.
It should be. It's got to be.
Competitive.
And it gets fun, gets rocking for
But
your.
the other thing we've noticed over the couple years, even though the players leave, now the fans attach their attention to the teams.
Yeah.
They start following teams.
Yeah.
And you can feel this alliance growing, and they still come in for games just because they've now fallen in love with the particular team and the way they style
Well,
they play.
the other night was that he just walked by a second with Shaden Sharp and Nick Smith Jr. was cooking in the fourth quarter. I mean, he had like 16 in the fourth, and now people are like, I'm going to come back and watch his next game, right? So that's kind of one of the things of Summer League as well. Like, not sure who I want to see, but when they have great performances, they come back. But I think the tournament part will be, and then again, today's WNBA day, so we start to sprinkle in a little bit.
Yeah, All-Star games coming this
a little bit
weekend.
of stuff on the back end. It's always been that first weekend, but now I think we have a great opportunity to run it all the way through Monday.
Yeah, I mean, look, are you going to maybe have some WNBA side tournament
The
here
door
one
is
day?
always open.
Is there going to be is there going to be a W league? I guess with the lineups, it doesn't. The seasons don't match. You could do a winter league.
Yeah, it'd be an April thing.
You
thought about it a little
you've
bit.
thought about it. Okay,
and,
all right.
and you know what we wanted to do this year? Timing didn't work out, but like when they converge,
Yeah.
let's do a fashion show. Kind of you
It's
got
like with your music, right? You could have.
the entertainment side, the
so
fashion
much things.
side.
This 2 weeks is like a Grammy week.
Yeah.
2 weeks. You can do. It's got so much room to grow.
Yeah.
In other aspects for the experience of Summer League is what I'm saying.
And our partners too.
We want a big festival.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we're a brand like Nike, like sky's the limit.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are they going to do as we start to expand?
100%. And again.
But just to give credit, Isaiah Thomas was the first to push it when he owned that the women's team in New York. He was right about bringing it here during
He
the
didn't
summer.
own it, but yes.
And by the way, since ESPN is already here, makes it easier for everybody. You just all the trucks, you transfer it over, but it's a showcase about greatness.
Yep.
And that's what we always want to create that feeling about Summer League. There's always greatness here. You have to discover what that greatness is.
Well, next year, LeBron James Jr.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's going to happen.
Right. That I mean, I don't know how much under the
They already
radar you're going to get
prepared for
there, but
But I would be amiss to say, look, you can't come to the dance alone. You want to come.
Yeah.
The NBA has been unbelievable with this, just so we're clear.
Yep.
These guys saw the vision. Adam, big time. The people Malone, Mark Tatum, unbelievable.
Yep.
And these guys have also came in and said, we want you guys to be able to do this. We'll give you the support. We work hand in hand. And this is also a major reason for a lot of the growth and a lot of expansion. So we're very grateful.
Yeah, they've supported us 100%. One of the unique things I've seen this year, all of these kids with the NIL now, they're showing up to Summer League. People are flying them out, right? I'm going to be here in 2 years. I'm going to be here. I've seen more younger players here this year who are, I don't even know who they are, right? Used to know all of them.
But they got a deal from their local
they got a
school.
deal. So they're already positioning themselves to come out next summer or the following summer to be a star here.
It's like you take young players to the championship game so they get a feel.
Yeah.
To get your start.
Environment, absolutely.
There you go. Well, thank you guys for being here today. We appreciate it. This event.
Oh, we're on radio?
I
thought we were just
You're on the
chopping it
TV.
up.
You're on the TV.
Look
at all these cameras. You're on the TV.
Well, I don't have a face for TV, so I hope they crop it right about here.
No, seriously.
Our 3 hours of sleep a night. We do really well on TV.
How are those bags? Are they
They're
packed?
lovely. You got the little magnifiers on them. You're good. No, Paul and I would certainly not be here in the middle of July without you guys, and we would not be having so much fun.
And we're grateful that you are.
Thank you
it's
so
time to hit
much.
the dice table,
Well,
y'all.
All right.
we love stars. You're the biggest. Okay, we appreciate it, man.
There we go.
And
Thanks so much,
Talking
Rachel.
about big stars, Rachel. Thank you for seeing us at some place you wanted to come. You came, and you made a lot of stuff happen.
Yeah, well, I was here years and years ago because
before it was cool. Okay?
I love this. I love this. This whole thing is about, it's everything what I love about the NBA, the buzz, the people around. I mean, the All-Star game, yes, you see guys from every team, but you're right. It's everyone's pulled in different directions. Guys aren't there for a certain year or whatever. Everyone's at Summer League. This is what the NBA is about, is where everybody is there in the same
to God's
place.
ears.
So there you go. All right, SHO Basketball Live. So much fun today. Thank you to Paul. Thank you to Tracy McGrady. And we will be back tomorrow. So catch us then. We got all new operations. So we'll see you. Bye.
Man, I've been watching y'all join, man. Y'all getting better and better. Y'all got y'all one, man.
I just steal y'all temper. I say, what are they doing? I'm doing.
We've had everybody on this show.
Everybody.
Y'all know all the feelings, the emotions, the locker room, media. Y'all know it all.
Here's probably Stone.
That's all it was.
I said, that's Matthew Bourne.
You guys are banging and doing your shit.
You've been in the locker rooms with the uncensored talk with me, so you know what time it is.
I want all the smoke.
My goal coming into this was to kind of humanize our guests and for them to really let down their guard and freely speak to us.
You know, I just wish I was more experienced when that time came around, but I knew I wasn't scared for the moment.
A lot of the conversations you have, man, have been inspiring.
We got the same goal. We going to the same place.
Even the conversations we have off camera with people, they be the same way. You know, they be heartfelt, they be genuine.
I'm really lucky to have friends like you, I'm not gonna lie.
Remember when you retire who your smoke team is.
I'll be on my way, don't worry.